Today I'm going to be sharing with you the curriculum choices for my 7th grader. Alright, so you may have already seen my video about that we're doing Brave Writer. Check it out here. I've already revealed that. I have also already talked about how we're doing the Good and the Beautiful for grammar. Again, check out this video right here. And I have already revealed to you that we are doing the Good and the Beautiful math instead of teaching textbooks this year, so check that out here. So Rachel, why are you making this video then? You've already revealed all this stuff for your 7th grader. There are a few other things that she's doing that are not necessarily part of our family subjects, because I am going to be doing another video about what family subjects we're doing, what she's going to be doing just with my younger child, and what I'm going to be doing for all 3 of my children together, because this year I have one goal. And that is form tighter bonds with my children, better relationships between siblings, and just spending more time together in this homeschool year, because my son is a 10th grader. He has 3 years left until possibly college, and who knows what's going to happen. We need to embrace this time together while we can. So family subjects video coming up. But I did want to mention a few other things that I have in mind for my 7th grader. And they are mostly revolve around literature and literature studies. I mentioned in the Good and the Beautiful 5 video that I did not buy the Good and the Beautiful literature. She did not enjoy their literature last year. It just wasn't appealing to her. So I made a book list for her of things that I thought either might interest her or I thought would just be good for her to read. And then I'm going to let her also choose some of her own literature. So I don't have these books, but I thought I would just share them with you. So Tuesdays at the Castle. This one was recommended by Sarah McKenzie from Read Aloud Revival, and it was recommended for middle schooler. And it was about a castle where it rearranges itself every Tuesday. That sounded kind of fun and whimsical, and so we'll see how that goes. I have on here The Door in the Wall, which was a book that my son read in Challenge A, which is 7th grade, for classical conversations. So we have that book. I didn't bring it up here, but it's kind of set in medieval times. And because we are a formal classical conversations family, I actually have this book called Words Aptly Spoken. And all this is questions, facilitating questions to talk about the book with. Let's see, this particular book has The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis, The Bronze Bow, Elizabeth Spear, Number the Stars, Amos Fortune Freeman, The Door in the Wall, The Secret Garden, Carry On Mr. Bowditch, Little Britches, Father and I Were Ranchers, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Hiding Place, A Gathering of Days, Where the Red Fern Grows, Crispin, The Cross of Leeds, and The Phantom Toll Booth. So those are all of the literature that Classical Conversations uses for their 7th and 8th grade. But I wanted to pick a few of the books that I knew would be in here so that I could help facilitate conversation with her with the book, because I'm not able to read every single book that my children are going to read. So for example, Tuesdays at the Castle, probably not going to read that. I'm going to let her read it and tell me about it. I still want them to be able to discuss their literature, and if I haven't read it, then I'm going to need help discussing it, and that's where this book comes in. So that's why she's doing The Door in the Wall. And she's also, I think, going to be reading The Chronicles of Narnia. Again, I have discussion questions there. I know about the book, and it has a movie. And then the 2 other books that I have on her list here are Strawberry Girl, which I think is historical fiction, highly recommended by a lot of people as being quality literature. And then The Midwife's Apprentice, another historical fiction novel. I can't off the top of my head now remember what that one was about, but I read the summary of it on Amazon, and it sounded interesting to me, and I thought it would interest her. But I think it's also kind of set back maybe in 1800s about being a midwife's apprentice. But I wanted to let her have also some options for choosing some of her own literature. So my goal for her this year will be to read 1 decent novel a month. So if we homeschool for 9 or 10 months, that's 9 or 10 novels. And I only have 5. I only mentioned 5 here. So that means she'll get to pick 5 of her own. But I'm also going to be reading aloud to my daughters. So I'm experimenting, because we're switching to Brave Writer for her writing curriculum, I went ahead and bought a Brave Writer arrow guide also. And so I'm going to be reading to my daughters out loud the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. And I bought an arrow guide for this middle child to do. And so let me show you this arrow guide. I should also mention that I am having her continue on with the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. She needs help with her handwriting, so we may as well just keep doing what's working. So she's on level 5. She's almost done with level 5 and getting ready to move to level 6. Good and the Beautiful handwriting. So this is a digital guide that comes, and I haven't decided if I'm going to read this one right away or if this one I'm going to start maybe in the fall, because it has some Christmas themes in it, I believe. When I looked at one of the things that Julie Bogart recommends is at the end of reading a book to have a party. And if I remember correctly, one of her party ideas had something to do with Christmas. See, at the end of the guide, there's these cool things you could do. Let's see, crafts, holiday crafts, there it is. So there's some holiday stuff here, craft Christmas wreaths like they did in chapter 16 here. These are some ideas for some of their book parties. I think this is a great idea if I can figure out how to squeeze all this in. Visit the Vanderbeekers, so some ideas for what you could do to host a party around this book. So if we decide to have a book party, I might invite my parents over, and then the girls could give their themed party, enjoy their themed party, but then also tell my parents about the book. So here's what the arrow guide is. The arrow guide is supposed to take 4 weeks, but of course you can make it take however long you want. This tells you the kind of grammar elements that they're going to be discussing here. So they're going to talk about LE endings, EM dashes, personification, ordinal numbers, FLU suffixes, metaphors, similes, commas, predicate, adjective, ampersands, appositive nouns, assertions, and writing activity, bunch of personalized coupons. So this was going to be her grammar. So this is why if you watched that video about the Good and the Beautiful level 5, I'm not going to be doing every single thing in that book. I can't possibly do everything this year that I have planned for. This is like the most customized homeschool year that I've ever had, and everything that I have ready for my children is way too much for us to actually accomplish. So I'm going to have to be very intentional about our weekly planning and deciding what I actually want to do versus what I'm willing to skip over. Okay, so this just gives some cultural context, which when I start reading the book, I will go over this with them about. It's talking about Upper Manhattan, New York City. Maybe we'll look at some maps and stuff. But for week 1, they have this copywork paragraph here. And so she's going to be copying the paragraph, and then we're going to be talking about different forms of punctuation, or grammar elements. So why this passage? We'll talk about personification. And then spelling and vocabulary, what to note. So every single day we'll have, and I've already figured out all these lessons someplace else, but every single day she's going to be doing some sort of activity in here, all relating back to the book and the read aloud that we'll be doing. How to use this passage, why is it called an EM dash, so first, second, third, spotlight and grammar. This is all still week 1. Okay, now we're on week 2. Now she has a different copywork. And I'll say this too about the Julie Bogart arrow guides. Man, it's been a while since I've looked at these, but she mentions things like French dictation. If I remember correctly, what they're supposed to do for the arrow guides is maybe do that copy work every single day for the week. And then at the end of the week, I will dictate it to them and they will write it from my dictation, but they have to remember where all the commas go, what punctuation, maybe the spelling of the words. So it's kind of a different way than just grammar drills, placing commas in an exercise. You're thinking about something being dictated to you and writing it correctly, which is the purpose of grammar in the first place. So anyway, there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there of some of you moms sharing some of the arrow guides and details of that. So I'm not going to go into great detail, much more detail here. Maybe when we get to this in our school year, I will talk more about it then, so make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss it. And then honestly, I think everything else that my 7th grader is going to be doing is kind of family subject. So the math and the language arts and some of the reading, that's about all she's going to be doing on her own. I just believe in doing school together and doing life together and exploring our interests separately. But while I got my kids at home, I want to have a relationship with them, and that is why we are homeschooling. So if you want to check out Brave Writer, check out this video, and why we're not doing teaching textbooks anymore, but doing the good and the beautiful math, check out this one, and I will see you next time. Bye.